12 months ago, Kobbie Mainoo was the undisputed future of Manchester United. He was the shining light in a dark season. The boy from Stockport who scored a goal in the FA Cup final against Manchester City. Today, he's practically an afterthought. Welcome back to the United Community Channel. We need to have a serious conversation about the dire situation facing one of our brightest talents. Since Ruben Amorim has arrived, Kobbie Mainoo's game time has fallen off a cliff. We are told it's tactical. We hear whispers that he doesn't fit the system, or worse, he's lazy and that he can't defend and isn't quick enough. Today, we are tearing those arguments apart. We're going to look at why this team desperately needs his control. We're going to bring the actual stats into the video and debunk the defensive myths. And we're going to compare his situation to the greatest midfielder that has ever played for Manchester United, Paul Scholes. And why? To prove Amorim has got this completely wrong. So, if you think Kobbie Mainoo deserves to start and deserves more game time, smash that like button right now and let's jump right into it. We all know the situation. Ruben Amorim has come in with his rigid 3-4-3 system, that two-man midfield that requires huge physical output. And so far, the manager has preferred the physicality of Ugarte or maybe the experience of Casemiro. And even sometimes shifting other players out of position over trusting Kobbie Mainoo. And we know who that is, of course, it's the captain Bruno Fernandes. The result for Kobbie has been inconsistent cameo appearances, coming on when games are already chaotic or lost or maybe even won. It's a dire situation for an England international who should be the cornerstone of this Manchester United rebuild, in my opinion. But look at the team on the pitch. What is the one thing that Manchester United are lacking at the moment? Control. We're playing basketball matches on grass, end-to-end chaos. We struggle to keep the ball for sustained periods in the opposition half. We panic under the slightest bit of pressing. And this, in my opinion, is exactly where Kobbie Mainoo thrives. And I think it's why Amorim's refusal to play him is so bloody baffling at the moment. Kobbie Mainoo's greatest strength, in my opinion, is what the Spanish call la pausa, the ability to slow the game down where everybody else is rushing around at 100 miles an hour. When the opposition presses high, most of our midfielders not panic, but maybe go a little bit long, go a little bit direct when they shouldn't. Kobbie Mainoo doesn't. He scans, he receives on the half turn, he manipulates the ball in tight areas and he breaks the press. It's something that he's very good at. He doesn't just keep possession, he progresses it under pressure and under duress. And I think it's a huge attribute to have at such a young age. In a system like Amorim's, which relies on wing-backs bombing forward, you need a midfielder who can retain the ball in the centre of the park and allow those wide players to get into position. Without Kobbie, we are just maybe forcing transitions and turning the ball over constantly, like we said, like a basketball game. We're ignoring, in my opinion, our genuine only tempo setter because he doesn't fit maybe a specific physical mould. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The biggest stick used to beat Kobbie Mainoo with, both in the media and it seems now by the coaching staff and some of the fan base, is the idea that he lacks defensive attributes. That he's a luxury player who can't handle maybe the dirty work of the Premier League. Let me be crystal clear on this. This is lazy analysis and I think it's uncategorically true, to be quite honest with you. I went back and looked at the data since his Premier League debut. I want to highlight a few key metrics in this that prove he's not a defensive passenger. When you look at metrics like possession won in the midfield third, Kobbie has consistently ranked high among midfielders his age across the entirety of Europe. Furthermore, look at his dribblers tackled percentage. Throughout his time in the first team, his success rate in 1v1 duels against players running at him is significantly higher than people give him credit for. He doesn't always, slide in and smash people, like a Roy Keane would, or even a Casemiro in his later years now at Manchester United. So people are probably assuming he isn't defending. But I think his defending is based on intelligence more than anything else, not brute force. He intercepts passes because he reads the game faster than others. He wins ground duels because he uses his low centre of gravity brilliantly, in my opinion, to get between the man and the ball. Now, is he a destroyer like Manuel Ugarte? No. But was Ilkay Gundogan a destroyer for Manchester City? Was Luka Modric a destroyer for Real Madrid? Absolutely not. You can't compare a controller with a destroyer. And I think Kobbie Mainoo is that more controlling type of player. To suggest Mainoo can't defend is to ignore the reality of what I suppose he has done in a Manchester United shirt for the first maybe 18 months of his career. He's positionally disciplined and hardly ever, I suppose, shrinks a challenge. The narrative is wrong in my opinion, and I think the stats back that up. And this brings me to my final and probably most important point, the obsession with pace and athleticism in modern football and how it's hurting Kobbie Mainoo. Now, you do need to be athletic and you do need to be powerful in some aspects, especially in the Premier League. We hear it all the time, however. Kobbie doesn't get around the pitch quick enough. He can't cover the ground. And frankly, I think it's absolute nonsense. Let's talk about the greatest midfielder in the Premier League era, in my opinion, Paul Scholes. Now, Scholes was arguably the best player of his generation in terms of a midfield player. Was he fast? Absolutely not. He couldn't beat anyone really in a foot race. Was he a defensive powerhouse? Absolutely not. His tackling was, let's call it, enthusiastic, but technically probably poor. Now, look, I think he doesn't get enough credit for his tackling ability, and I think maybe it's a stick to beat him with a little bit more so than it should be, in my opinion. However, did any manager at Manchester United ever dare drop Paul Scholes because he wasn't quick enough? Now, of course, there was only one manager. But no, Ferguson didn't, because his brain was faster than everyone else's legs. Scholes dominated games through anticipation, positioning, and technical perfection, if that is something you can aim towards. He didn't need to run 100 miles an hour to recover a ball because he was already standing where the ball was going to end up or was going to land seconds before it really even got there. Mainoo shares that trait, in my opinion. He is the closest thing we have seen to Paul Scholes since he retired. He scans the pitch consistently. He knows where the space is all the time. For such a young player, they're great attributes to have. I think if Ruben Amorim is looking at Kobbie Mainoo and only seeing what he can't do physically rather than what he can do intellectually and technically, then Amorim is looking at football the wrong way, and he's looking at this Manchester United side and Kobbie Mainoo particularly in the wrong way. You don't bench a generational football brain because it isn't, Usain Bolt, or it isn't, Arnold Schwarzenegger on the pitch. You build a system to protect him, so what his brain gives you then is opportunities to win football matches. The situation is simple at the moment. In my opinion, Manchester United are currently a chaotic football team over the last few weeks, desperately lacking a bit of control in midfield. We have a homegrown talented player sitting on the bench who specialises in exactly that, control. He's being sidelined based on defensive myths that I suppose the stats don't support, and physical attributes and physical critiques that didn't stop the likes of Paul Scholes becoming a Manchester United legend. I think Ruben Amorim needs to wake up to the reality of the Premier League a little bit more. You cannot just outrun teams. You have to outthink them a little bit and outplay them. You cannot do that with Kobbie Mainoo rotting on the bench. I think it's time to trust the talent. And the final point I would make on this is that Manchester United and their history have been based around giving youth an opportunity. We have not seen that under Ruben Amorim. When you go back to the likes of Louis van Gaal, who played with Tyler Blackett and these types of players, he gave massive opportunities to youth players. Granted, an awful lot of them didn't go on to have good Premier League careers, but he gave an opportunity to the likes of Marcus Rashford and seen what he's gone on to do his career. Ruben Amorim has not trusted the youth at Manchester United yet. You've got Kobbie Mainoo there, you've got Shea Lacey also, who's on the bench when we need attacking opportunities in games. He hasn't given him his opportunity yet. Ruben Amorim has got to trust the youth a little bit more. But let me know what you guys think. Is Amorim right to prioritise physicality over Mainoo's technical ability, or is he making a massive mistake leaving him out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, guys. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to see more of Kobbie Mainoo in the starting 11, please do drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.